Today's episode, we're going to talk about the two things that you need in business at all times, whether you're brand new or you're more seasoned in your business. These two things are so important for your success. The first one is money systems. You need to know where your money is coming from and where it's going so that you can keep more of your money and pay yourself and keep most of the money that you're making is always the goal. It's the whole point of going into business is to make money. So we want to make sure we're leveraging that. So that's the first thing. The second thing is sales. Without sales, you have no money to manage and you don't have a business, in fact. So you need sales in order to have a business and in order to have money to be able to pay yourself, to manage, and to grow your business with. So today's goal, we're going to talk through these two must-haves of business success so that we can help you identify which of these two categories you may need to focus on next so that you can make that next best step in your business for you based on where you're at and for your financial journey. So the first thing is money systems. So Becca, when your clients come to us needing money systems, we usually hear a couple things. Do you want to walk us through what we normally hear from clients so that they can identify if this is probably the next thing that they need to focus on in their business?
Yes, of course. So the first thing that we hear consistently from new clients is I make really good money. It never feels like enough, and I don't have anything to show for it. If I had $1 for every time I've heard that, just in the last year, I could probably buy my family a ton of McDonald's.
And let's be honest, because we've both also said that at different seasons in our business when we're making really good money. Because you're not immune to that just because you are in a different season or in the next step in your business. This is really common at multiple different steps in business.
Well, not to go down a rabbit hole, but that is because your money is about habits. And I will say it until it's carved on my tombstone. What you do with $100 is what you will do with 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. It does not matter because your habits will be the same unless you intentionally change those habits. So, in the case of I make really good money, I don't know where it is, I don't have anything to show for it, it never feels like enough, I feel like I have to sell all the time to keep money coming in, you may be making a lot more than you realize, and your expenses could be like out of control. Out of control. So in this case, you could be so busy letting money come and go, paying your bills, making sure your team members are paid, making sure your coaches or whoever you have helping you with your business are paid, making sure your Zoom and your Kajabi and all of your CRM, everything is paid. You're so busy making sure you're using the money to pay that you're not tracking the money coming and going. It's just what I typically see, and this just happened yesterday. She said, well, I looked at my bank balance and it was enough to pay the bill, so I paid the bill. That's called bank balancing. That is not called tracking your money. And there's a huge difference. And that's how you can get into trouble. That's how you can feel like you're making a lot of money, but you don't have any money to take home at the end of the month. And that's the important part. There's no point in having a business that you don't get to pay yourself from. There's no point.
You're working for free.
You're working for free, and you're going to have to work harder and harder each month to be able to afford the way that things are shaking out at the end of the month, the way that you're living right now, not tracking. So if you don't have a concept of the bird's eye view, so if you don't have your numbers all in one place so you can just look at everything from a bird's eye view, it can feel like you are not making any money at all, but you don't actually know how much you're making and you don't know how much you're spending.
So I know, Becca, you've had some really great testimonials or examples of this. Honestly, in the last week, we've had a client just share something really incredible. I know you're going to share that. And over the last quarter, there's been some really just eye-opening testimonials, I'll call them, from clients who've had their eyes opened to how important their money management was So why don't you break down just a few of those quick examples for us in how this played out in real time for people who were making really good money and had no idea?
I would consider these breakthroughs. So these are 3 top of mind breakthroughs that have happened in less than the past year. One of them from this week, which is really exciting. So the first example I can think of is a client who thought that she had only produced $40,000 in revenue last July. So July 2022. I asked her, "Well, how much money have you made this year?" Probably like $40,000. So we went to look at her tracker, and she had, in fact, already hit $92,000 in revenue, double, more than double what she thought, because she wasn't looking at the numbers. It was an
Wow.
emotional game at that point. It was very emotional to her. I don't have a lot of money, so I can't be making that much money. You're making really good money. You're making more money, let's say, triple what I made as a teacher at 92,000. Triple, and that was
In
before
July.
taxes, people, before taxes. The second example that I can think of is another client who I asked her in March, "Well, how much revenue?" This is a game, it's not a game, but it's kind of a game that I like to play with them. Let's guess how much, if you had to guess today, how much revenue you've brought in, like throw out an answer. And her answer in March of 2023 was like 50 or 60,000. And I was like, "Okay, well, I'm looking at your tracker and you have already in quarter 1 hit 115,000 in revenue for this year. Quarter 1. And now we're in June 2023 and she is at 146,000 in revenue.
Wow.
100 and really close to 150. Um, this does not even include the contracts that have already been signed for 2024. So not only does she know exactly what's coming in for 2023 so far, she knows exactly what's coming in for 2024 so far, meaning she can plan. She gets to decide what she's going to do with that money almost a year in advance. She gets to decide when she's going to take vacation based on the numbers for next year already. So if
Mm.
there's a really high month, then she's like, "Psh, I'm going to take vacation 3 weeks of that month because I already know what I have coming in. And that's exactly what I need to pay my bills, to pay myself, to pay off debt if she has debt." Then you get to make these really clear, fast, confident decisions about what you're going to do. Are you going to sell a lot or are you going to back off sales that month because you know exactly what's coming in already? The third example is really fun. We have a new client this week, and not even 24 hours after logging in to the course, she messaged me and she said, "Oh my gosh, I had no idea I was only $1,000 away from a $10,000 month last month. And I had no idea." Like, this is a woman who says she's living paycheck to paycheck to paycheck. She would tell you, "I don't make enough money. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. Like, I'm just making enough to pay my bills, to pay debt, to do this. And like, I'm always having to sell." She was $1,000 away from $10,000 month and she had no idea. But even better than that was she realized after putting her numbers all in one place, she was actually consistently making $7,000 a month and she didn't realize that she was. What a huge confidence boost. Like, I do know what I'm doing. I am good at what I'm doing. I can make really good money. Now I get to decide what I'm actually going to do with it.
Mm. And it's so motivating when you see those numbers, because I was almost identical to her when I first got control of my numbers in the first round of Mind Her Business. When I realized that I had consistently been averaging $10,000 months for, the whole last half of the year. And I had no idea. I thought it was more like the 5K mark, but between some months I was just over 10K, some I was under. It was averaging 10K months consistently for those last, 4 or 5 months of the year that I was starting to really grow my business. And I had no idea. It definitely felt like I was still not making enough, even though I was making more. And it's almost like you consistently start moving the goalpost. So then I hired some help that I didn't think I was ready for once I saw those numbers. And that was really exciting. That lifted a lot of weight off my shoulders. Now I'm making smarter business decisions, making moves. But because the goalpost keeps moving, if you're not looking at those numbers and aware, it can be very easy to feel like, okay, I make more, spend more, and now I'm still not making any money. So if you don't have a spreadsheet to look bird's eye view at where your money is coming from, where it's going, it's hard to make decisions, when you've got money going that way and you've got money going over here and it's kind of coming from over there. It's so spread out in your brain. It's almost impossible to feel in control, or it is impossible, I would say, to feel in control. So I really resonate with her saying that, and it brought me back to that place because that was exactly me a couple of years ago. And wow, what a confidence boost for her to know how, I guess what I'm trying to say is nothing has changed in her situation, but the knowledge is going to have her standing taller, feeling like a CEO, making more confident and powerful business decisions. Like everything's about to change for her just from knowing.
Just from knowing. So all of that mental space that was being taken up by, I don't
Living
know,
paycheck to paycheck.
living paycheck to paycheck. I don't know how much I can pay off debt. How soon could I pay this off? When could I buy a house? Could I even afford to do that? All of that is gone now because you can look at the numbers and the numbers give you the
Don't
data that
lie.
you need. The numbers don't lie. The numbers give you the data you need and the evidence that your brain needs to say you are making more than enough to go after all of these goals that you have for yourself. And now you know.
Yeah.
Now you know.
Oh, that's so exciting. Okay. Tell us, what is the second thing that we hear from clients who need money systems?
So the second thing is quite the opposite. It is, I need help with my money because I am not making enough. I'm not making enough money. This may or may not be true. In a lot of cases, this is not true at all. Refer back to number one. You don't know how much money you're actually making. So you feel like you have to sell, sell, sell all the time. It may or may not be true. So there are two things that Marley and I know are actually true. Fact. The first thing is 9 times out of 10, it is not as bad as you think it is. The only thing you don't have is a clear picture of your numbers. So what data, what information are you basing this feeling on? Are you basing this statement of, I don't make enough money on? So it's very easy to feel like you don't have enough money. It's easy to feel like you're living paycheck to paycheck because you don't know your numbers. I was going to stop that sentence and start with something else, but I caught myself. Marley just did this to me yesterday. Yesterday, I told her, I want to be able to hire this person into my business. I just don't feel like it's time. Why do you feel like it's not time? Because I want to make sure that I'm set up. I can still pay myself what I want to pay myself. I can still save the amount that I want to save for my business because it's very important to have savings for your business also. And I just kind of want to make sure that I'm not going to backslide. This is a human nature thing, right? Especially as an entrepreneur. And so what did she do? Go look at your numbers. Let's pull it up together and see. So I wasn't necessarily feeling like I'm living paycheck to paycheck, but sometimes I feel like I'm not ready for the next level because I haven't looked at my numbers in a specific way. I look at my numbers all the time. Objectively. I look at my numbers all the time. Don't get me wrong. I know them inside and out. But when you're looking for a specific purpose, that's when the data gets to speak to you, when you get to look at the numbers and the numbers get to tell you the decision instead of your brain that has been spiraling telling you what the decision is.
And you are so much more emotionally attached to your own spreadsheet. So this is why we always say coaches need coaches. Everybody needs help in the field that they coach in. This is why therapists need therapists, because you're too emotionally close to your own situation. In what did we do? 10, 15 minutes. We pulled up your spreadsheet. We looked at the numbers very quickly because you can look at a glance revenue and expenses. Mm-hmm. We were able to manipulate some of the numbers that you have in there, some of the expenses you have. We were able to go, okay, well, what if we played with this? What if we got rid of that? What if we added this in here? And just in a few minutes of going what ifs and playing with the numbers, we were able to actually realize that you're 4 months away from all of your business goals coming to fruition. And you thought that it was a lot further away than it actually was, just simply because we were able to pull them up and look objectively and do a little bit of playing with numbers, which I love doing.
Looking from different angles.
From different angles. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I was looking at it
in the stories that you were telling yourself.
Oh, yes, because I was looking at it from a very specific angle, one angle. And what Marley is able to do is pull me away from that angle and bring me in at other angles. And that's what I'm able to do for her when she pulls up her spreadsheet. So what I'm telling you is it's easy to feel like you don't have enough. It's easy to feel like you're living paycheck to paycheck when you don't have everything laid out in front of you so that you can look at it and you can make smart, fast, efficient, confident decisions with your money. So it may not be as bad as you think it is.
Yeah. And this is what I love so much about Mind Her Business is like, I literally said to you this week, Becca, I think I need a new freedom number. Like, I don't think I know exactly now that I'm in this new place, we've added new businesses. Like, I know my numbers, I'm looking at them consistently, but I was like, I think I've forgotten to set a new goalpost in this new season. And can we find a few minutes to just sit down and hammer this out for me so that I can have a new focus, and a new angle to put my attention to with my numbers. So this is something that you don't just, set it and forget it. This is a lifelong journey of managing your money, of learning how to this is what we mean when we say how to make smart business decisions. Well, when your business grows, you've got to learn how to pivot your money management with that. And the principles are all the same. They're all the foundational principles we teach. You just get to bring them with you into each phase in business. And that's what has felt so fun. And so has given me so much confidence in being able to grow my businesses, step into new businesses, and make new financial goals and plans with my husband, is that I have those foundational skills that I'm so confident in now. And I know I can identify when I am feeling a little bit, when it's feeling hard, it's like, oh, well, I just forgot to set a new goal. Like, how silly, when you get busy making moves, it can be easy to kind of forget some foundational stuff and bring yourself back to that square one.
Right. Yeah. The other thing so it may not be as bad as you think it is, which typically it's not. You may be right, though. You may not be making enough in your business to require learning money systems right now, for this to be your next best step right now. You may benefit more from leaning into a specific sales strategy, from learning how to sell. So, Marley, can you walk us through how to determine if sales is where we need to lean into first?
Yeah, there's a number of factors that come into play here. So one of the most common things that I see in someone who is not making the sales they want to be making, or especially if you're just new to the social media marketing world, it's just straight up messaging. So knowing how to talk to your audience, how to talk about what you do. And that is really a sales skill. So messaging, if your messaging is off, you won't attract the right people, or sometimes any people for that matter, if you're really not clear on how to talk about what you do. And that's, I can't go down a whole rabbit hole in today's episode about messaging, but it's really a lot more fun and simple than it sounds. And so that can be a pretty strategic fix. There's strategy around it. And it's not like you need to be good at sales or not good at sales. It's a skill. So you can learn. That's the good news. The second thing is, you have people messaging you. You have people coming into your DMs, but they're just not converting to that sale. So you have a conversion problem in that case. So that is, again, a skill of how to carry that conversation from the inquiry to the actual checkout. And it can also be just simply attracting the right people. So they might not be the right people coming into your inbox because your messaging might be attracting people that aren't decision makers. So there can be a lot, like I said, messaging is the key to sales. It is in every single part of your offers, every single part of what you do in your marketing. It is so key. And the messaging can really attract just a slightly different person that will start to convert with more ease. So it's not necessarily that you aren't, converting people, but they aren't converting themselves because they might not be the right people. And we don't want to be convincing people to sell. So messaging around that is also just, I could nerd out on it all day here. The third thing we see is you just might be shying away from your social media. If you aren't clear on how to talk about what you do and how you do it, you may not feel as confident to show up as consistently as needed. And so that can be a big factor in not attracting the right people. If you yourself aren't sold 100% on what you do and why you do it, you are, you can't expect people to buy.
No. Period.
I was going to say, what do you want to say about that? You sounded like that.
Literally, period.
Yes. So you have to be sold on what you do. And it's not sometimes when you get, not sometimes, I'm going to say every time, when you are clear on your messaging, when you feel clear on how to talk about what you do, when you know your person because you've done your market research, you will know how to speak to them. You'll know the language to use. You'll know how to talk about the offer, the transformation. Everything feels easier when your messaging is nailed down, and you will sell yourself on your offer when you're clear on how to articulate it, because you know in your soul it's so good, but sometimes it's just getting it out in words can be the challenge. And that is what messaging is. It's words. It's learning the right words to use to actually articulate to the right people that this is the thing that they've been looking for. If you're stuck in creation mode, we see this a lot. If social media and marketing is feeling hard, you might be hiding behind your computer. You're creating new offers because the last one didn't sell the way that you wanted it to. Or you think that a new offer will be the solution to get people to start finally buying, converting, coming to your DMs. And sometimes it's just because you're lacking trust in the process that this takes longer than you want it to. And that's the hard truth. It takes time to build know, like, and trust with your audience, brand awareness, offer awareness, and to get your audience to believe that they have what it takes to get the result that you promote. A lot of people also will lower their prices in hopes that maybe that will solve the problem. And, that's another whole rabbit hole, but lowering your prices can also be detrimental in terms of, sometimes it's the right move. And I'm not going to say it's bad to lower prices, definitely not. But we do often see clients, humoring the idea of lowering their prices, thinking that that will solve their sales problem. And often that is just going to add to the sales problem because it'll attract a whole different type of person.
And your confidence. Your confidence can really take a hit.
Yeah, absolutely. And the last thing I'll say today, I'm sure that we could have come up with 100 things, but these are just the most common that we see, is just putting so much pressure on yourself, on your leads, on that potential sale. If you are driving yourself insane, refreshing your inbox, checking your emails, always on your phone, waiting for the dings, not being present with your family because you're just like waiting for the person to reply, that can be really, really detrimental to your sales as well, because it's just a really negative energy that is not going to serve you in your money journey, in your business journey, in your sales journey. And it's an unintentional sort of way of making it about you instead of about your client. And I know that you don't mean to do that. And I know we've all been there when sales are hard, when money is hard. We need money. Money doesn't make the world go round, but it puts food on the table. And so, that can be a really, really hard mindset to step out of, and to learn how to detach yourself from that feeling of, I need this sale. So if you found yourself nodding your head saying, yes, that's me, I resonate with this, to any of those business needs in sales, we have something coming in July. So if you go under the show notes here, follow me on Instagram, Marley Allison, you will see what we have coming up very, very soon. If you found yourself identifying more that money systems are where you're at in your business and you need some support in making the most out of your money so that you can pay yourself the most out of your money, then Becca has a masterclass coming up next Wednesday. I believe it's Wednesday, June the 28th. and it's going to give you a lot of clarity on where you could be with your money and what you may need in your money systems journey. So definitely make sure to go check Becca out on her Instagram. Again, her Instagram is in the show notes below, and you can register for her masterclass over there, or shoot her a DM if you don't know where to go for that. You need one of two things. You need money systems, or you need systems to make sales so that you have money to track. And that is as simple as it gets in order to have a business that is going to thrive, that you're going to be able to pay yourself with, and that you're going to get to build this business and this lifestyle that you've been dreaming about building for you.